I need certain things around me when I write. I'd like to believe I could write anywhere, that if I was in a jail cell, I could write, you know. But I'm definitely affected by light, and I'm very much affected by physical beauty, by being able to see beauty out my windows, and that means the sky, that means trees, the mountains, and so forth. It's very beautiful where I am now. It's very different from any place I've ever been in the past. It's the desert, the California desert. And it's also a very green and damp oasis in the desert, because this valley is filled with golf courses and country clubs and trees and grass, none of which was probably here 100 years ago. So this is the desert plus air conditioning and gourmet food and so forth. But you do have the beauty of the mountains all around you. You have 360 days of sunlight every year, and the warmth, and all of that's very, very good for me. When I was growing up, the beauty of New Orleans was very inspiring to me. The beauty of houses in particular. I would walk through the streets and notice old houses that were uniquely beautiful, you know, that had Greek columns on the front, beautiful crystal glass doors. Things like this would inspire me to tell stories and to want to write about them. The mystery. Now here where I am in the desert, no. I mean, there's no real architecture here except minimalist modern architecture. So I miss that very much. And I have to remember that when I'm writing. And I have to get in touch with that. But I am influenced all the time by seeing complex things. If we go on a road trip and we visit someplace like the Mission Inn in California, I was very inspired by that. Immediately came back writing a novel called Angel Time, totally involved with the characters that all came to life at the Mission Inn, and I set most of the novel at the Mission Inn. And that was just a trip we took. We just got in the car and thought we'd go to the Mission Inn because people said it was an interesting place. And it was very, very fruitful for me. I have to remember that, how much travel and novelty inspire me, and I have to kind of make myself do those things. I went back to New Orleans in 1989 after living in California for 30 years, and my writing greatly picked up. The energy, the vocabulary, everything intensified for me simply because I was back in New Orleans, which is a very sensuous city, and I was back with these enormous oak trees, beautiful old houses, 150-year-old houses, back with the beautiful pavements of New Orleans, the flagstone and brick pavements, the French Quarter, all the beautiful colors of the old Spanish architecture there, the side of the river. All of these things greatly, I don't know how to say it exactly, it speeded me up. My vocabulary must have doubled because I was searching to describe all kinds of things that really hadn't been seeing out in California. But there's no question that California had a profound influence on me in the early years. I began Interview with the Vampire and the Boy in a house on Divisadero Street. Well, that was inspired in San Francisco. That was inspired by a particular house that I saw and would see every time we drove down that street. And the name, Divisadero Street, I love that name. Things like that greatly affect what I do. Again, I'd like to believe I can do it anywhere, but I'm very much inspired by where I am. I like the peace and quiet where I am now, but I miss the challenges of the city. I miss the intensity of Manhattan or San Francisco or New Orleans. I miss that very much. But this is the place for me to be now, and I'm going to do what I can with this particular place.